Hello and welcome to this edition of Power Talk, your go-to trusted source of information on critical energy issues affecting our country. I'm your host, Victor Mwila. Today's topic is navigating Zambia's energy deficit, exploring alternative energy solutions, net metering. What exactly is net metering, and what is it to households and businesses? What can they benefit from this? I introduce to you my guests from ZESCO, the national power utility, immediately after this break. Stay tuned.
Hello people, my name is Tela Tukuta, aka the landlord in Zambia. So welcome to my house. I recently installed my solar system. I want to sort out this problem of power, once and for all. And my solar system, I'm able to watch my TVs, I'm able to iron, I'm able to use the microwave, the fridge is working perfectly. So with the power that I save, the excess power that I save from my system, through net metering, I'm able to send to the grid, and ZESCO pays me back in units. They give me back the units. So instead of me buying electricity, okay, because I've saved money in units, that money that I save from buying units, I take my kids for ice cream, I want to call upon you to go to the ZESCO website or visit ZESCO and apply for net metering, and you will not regret.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Power Talk. Our topic, energy deficit, exploring alternative energy solutions, net metering. What exactly is net metering? And what is it, or what benefit can households and businesses draw from net metering? I introduce to you my guests in the studio. I have Jason Lombe, Acting Principal Engineer, Planning and Projects from ZESCO. I'd like to welcome you to Power Talk and thank you for accepting to come and make an appearance.
Thank you, Victor.
And a name that needs very little introduction, Karisto Chitampia, Senior Manager, Corporate Affairs, ZESCO.
Thank you indeed for having us. Thank you.
We are happy you are here, and we would like from the outset to reflect on the presidential address to the National Assembly on 13th September 2024.
Yeah.
What was your takeaway? The president underscored quite a number of issues. He talked about, the El Nino-induced drought that we've experienced and the impact it has had on energy in the country.
Yeah, indeed, I followed it from A to Z because basically he was giving us the state of the nation in terms of how the economy is performing, where we have come from, where we are, and where we're going. And I thought that it was very comprehensive. Of course, for us, the interest was on energy. But he started by acknowledging that these are hard times, these are critical times, and that's why, of course, a disaster was declared, because the environmental situation that we've had, not just in Zambia, across the region, has had terrifying impact, if you like, especially in the way it has affected our energy. And the president also talked about food security, that farmers have been affected, and you've seen that as well. But the important thing is that he also mentioned what needs to be done and what the government, he outlined what the government is doing in order to ensure that we have some immediate relief, but also have long-term, so that this does not affect us again, because we may have another drought-induced problem again. So the president said, let's not go into the blame game, who didn't do what, because I'm sure we can go all the way back to 19 whatevers. But he basically said the idea is for us to move on and provide solutions. And we as ZESCO are aligned with the presidential vision and focus, because we also have to align in terms of what are our immediate solutions, what are the medium to long term. And that's what we are here for, because the issue we're about to discuss, net metering, is part of our immediate to medium term solutions, because it's already happening. So government was able, the president was able to say, look, there are some initiatives that we've introduced through ZESCO. And he mentioned net metering, which we're about to discuss, or we're already discussing. But he also mentioned about providing an enabling environment, because there's also the legal aspect. You know, there were some, there may be some legal issues that may make it difficult for us to implement. So those legal issues have been dealt with. And that's why there's an SI now which enables this net metering to go. So government has provided that enabling environment for us to move on. Of course, we've had immediate relief in terms of gensets as well in Lusaka, but that's a subject we can discuss later, because we are here for net metering. So for us, it was a very important speech, and all we have to do is make sure that we are aligned to that, and indeed we are. So the idea is to provide relief, immediate relief to the vulnerable, make sure that the wheels of the economy continue to turn, and then at the same time, ensure that we do not fall back into this situation again by preparing adequately for the future, and indeed that means diversification of our energy sources. And that's why we're here.
Yeah. Before we come to Lombe, I know that you procured about 23 diesel generators to install in selected markets. What sort of impact do you think this will have on these traders in the markets? Do you think this will provide enough relief to the businesses?
Well, obviously the country is big, and you might say, well, it's never enough. It may not be enough because the country is big, and there are obviously other areas that are in need. This was just a start, considering the fact that you know, we do have a lot of problems in Lusaka. You know, and Lusaka also has the highest number of exempted loads, if you like. Those loads that we can't touch because of because of security issues, because of health. So we're talking about hospitals. Lusaka has got the highest number for that, and all those that we have to exempt, because we have to recognize that there are institutions that are vulnerable, the institutions that are also very delicate, so we have to protect those. And as a result, it's like people have to sacrifice in order to make sure that certain institutions keep going, because you and I can afford to say, well, look, there's a person on oxygen. Maybe I can afford to stay without power for 2 hours, so that the person in the hospital is about to be operated on can survive, not so. So in terms of shortages and the critical loads, I think Lusaka is number one. But of course, I'll be the first to admit that all our customers need power. And ZESCO, of course, needs the resources to ensure that everybody's catered for.
Getting back to on course, of course, reflecting on our topic today, we're looking at net metering. How do you break this down in simple terms? This is a relatively new phenomena in Zambia?
Correct, Victor. So it's relatively new in Zambia. It's been implemented in other countries for several years, but it's relatively new in Zambia. It's pretty new. So net metering is a framework that we have recently developed, that is ZESCO Limited, in our collaboration with our regulators, the Energy Regulation Board, and the Ministry of Energy. Net metering, in simple terms, is a system or a framework that allows customers, such as yourself, myself, to generate their own electricity in the comfort of their own homes from renewable energy sources, such as solar. So you can install a solar home solution, for example, your inverter, your solar, your batteries, you install that in your home. So typically that's supposed to be used for your own home consumption. But what net metering does, Victor, is that it allows customers that are generating excess power, excess electricity, to export that electricity back into the ZESCO grid, which is a wonderful thing, because there are a lot of benefits when customers export their excess electricity back to the grid. But in a nutshell, that is what net metering is. Customers install their own renewable energy systems. It can be solar or any other source. And any excess power that they generate, they inject that back into the grid.
I'll come back to you. We'll continue looking at this. Mr. Chitamfia, how much information is out there regarding this subject? I know this is not the first time you're talking about this, but what have you been doing to ensure that there's enough sensitization, information
absolutely.
in communities
Absolutely.
on this subject?
I think that like any new product, when you have a new product, sensitization is important because otherwise there will be misinformation. Remember when we had TID, when you had to change your meters, by the way, which we have done very successfully, and we're glad that our colleagues on the Kenya Power came actually to ZESCO to learn how we did it so well. So that was the token identifier, if you like, identification program where we're going around to tell the people to make sure that how to load the token and change their meters. So this is part of it. I must admit we're just starting because, of course, you have to wait for information. We are disseminators, but sometimes the information comes from the technical people. So once and also we had to ensure that the SI is in place, the legal issues are dealt with. So there's that process that you have to wait for because you can't go and announce that this is happening before you ensure that it's actually permitted, that you have the legal instrument to go with it. So we've started, and this is one of it. And thanks for inviting us for this program. So but we've also got a website where this information, if we go to the ZESCO website, this information is all there on the ZESCO website, and various platforms that we have. But of course, this TV program is definitely one of them.
Okay. Is there a limit to how much an individual household or business can produce and feed into the grid? Are there specifications?
Yeah, so from the technical aspect, there are limits to how much a customer can generate and export to the grid. As much as you and I would want to generate excess power or excess electricity and pump all that into the ZESCO grid, there are some limitations to doing that. There are some technical challenges that are faced when doing that. So customers will be limited to what we call their maximum declared demand, which is the demand that you had indicated to ZESCO that you'll be drawing from ZESCO the time you became a ZESCO customer. So for most residential customers, we're looking at about 15 kilowatts or around 15 kVA. So that is the limit that customers can set up their renewable energy sources. So that is for technical challenges.
Okay. So then, how do I benefit from this? For instance, I get onto this program. What would you really share with me regarding the benefit that is in there?
That's
correct. To participate.
No, that's a very good question. The benefits are substantial. We'll start from the customer's point of view. The benefits for the customer are that you will reduce on your energy bills. Remember, when you export power to ZESCO, ZESCO compensates you for the power that you export. For every unit that you export, the ERB set a tariff, what we call an export tariff rate of 1.59 ingwe for every unit that you export to ZESCO. So ZESCO compensates you that amount and will credit that amount in form of units. So by doing so, customers will be able to reduce on their energy bills. I'll give you an example to make it maybe a bit easier to grasp. So suppose in a month, your home consumption, you use about 1,000 kwacha worth of units. When you install your renewable energy system, your solar home solution, and you're using some of the power from your renewable energy system, you won't be drawing as much power from ZESCO. So from 1,000 kwacha worth of units, your renewable energy system or your solar home solution will be generating you, say, 600 kwacha worth of units. You'll be able to save on that 600 kwacha worth. And the next time you buy units, you probably spend 400 kwacha. Then for those that generate excess energy at the end of each month, they might even export all that back to the grid. And instead of you buying power from ZESCO, you'll be selling power to ZESCO. So that is the benefit from the customer's perspective. The benefit for ZESCO and the nation at large is that for every customer that installs these renewable energy systems, these solar home solutions across the country, they're becoming self-reliant on their energy use. So ZESCO is able to claw back a certain amount of power that they could have supplied those customers. And ZESCO is able to redistribute that power to other customers that are in need. By doing so, you as an individual, you add to the generation mix of the country. You're adding to the renewable energy mix of the country, making a greener economy for Zambia, which is a better future for all of us and the future of Zambia.
With the legal technicalities, taken care of, Mr. Chitamfia, what's your word to communities and business owners?
Well, the word definitely is that we're putting power back into their own hands. We are in uncertain times now, and we're preparing for the future. So I know sometimes it's difficult to go into uncharted waters like we are in now, because we've been used to one source of power generation, which was hydro. But now we are telling our people that this may not be always there, because the weather has become unpredictable. We may have serious or even worse droughts in future. We have to prepare. And so we are saying this is one good way you can participate, because Zambia is blessed with lots of sunshine. So let's go into solar, generate something small at your home, and then trade off with ZESCO. And by the way, I would like to, Jason will agree with me. Some people have been asking whether at this point they are making lots of money from ZESCO by doing net metering. I think that is another, and Jason, I think you should explain a bit more on that, because that's at the micro generation level, and you have to have a certain minimum generation capacity. I think a domestic is basically just netting off. You owe me, I owe you something, and so your next bill becomes cheaper because you owe me, that kind of thing. So I think Jason would explain that.
Yeah, correct. So basically, the idea behind net metering is for customers to be more self-reliant on their energy use. I think that's the primary goal of net metering. For customers to be self-reliant, it also encourages customers to save as well. When you save, whether it's 300, 400 kwacha, 200 kwacha, whatever it is, it goes a long way, and customers are able to reinvest that in other businesses, for example. So that is the main idea behind net metering.
Okay, let's look at financing options. I think most people would talk about, where do I get the money, for instance, to get the kind of solar panels that will give me enough power that I can even share with others. Are there financing options in place, or are you talking to some of these providers of some of these solar panels or energy solutions?
Okay. While ZESCO is not currently offering these solutions to customers, we are talking to financial institutions, be it microfinancing institutions, banks, and the likes, to make this accessible to the general public. For public service employees, those in public service, they can access this through the public service financing as well. ZESCO has recently incorporated a subsidiary company called Kiona Energy Limited. So Kiona Energy Limited will be working hand in hand with these public financing institutions, acting as the installer of these renewable energy systems, the suppliers and installers of these renewable energy systems. But that is not limited to ZESCO and Kiona. Customers right now can go out there, participate in the general market, they can shop around, And I would like to point out that the initial investment of these systems might be a bit frightening or scary to some people, but you can start off small. You can start off with a very small system and gradually grow to a bigger system.
Okay. We'll be back on net metering again, but I would like us to get back once more to the presidential address to the National Assembly. If we are to take that as a launch pad for ZESCO, what other interventions are you looking at that perhaps you would like the general public to be aware of, considering that we are now experiencing load shedding of 24 hours, in some cases 48, and others even longer?
Yeah.
The public would like some assurance.
Yeah. I think, first of all, it's important to recognize, like I said before, that our generation has mainly been hydro. We've managed to take members of the press to the big generation stations. Kafue Gorge, Lower, we've been to Kariba North Bank, we've been to Tezi. In fact, in Tezi, we took some members of parliament there, and they were able to understand and appreciate that we are in dire straits, that it's extremely bad. But however, what people are interested in, like you put it, are interventions. What are the solutions? And like I said, we've got immediate and long term. So part of the solution is obviously for ZESCO to partner with other organizations, with the private sector, to bring up alternative energy solutions. We do have, as the president actually mentioned, Mamba is bringing up another 300 megawatts at Mamba, and that's quite a lot once it comes in addition to what we are getting. And then, of course, there's the solar plants that ZESCO is putting up. I think we have 100 megawatts coming up in Chisamba. There's a 50 megawatts solar plant coming up in Mansa, and I think something like 17 or 27, I need to be corrected, in Kasupe area. So those are ZESCO initiatives coming up, and they should be able to give us some substantial amounts.
Which ones do we see coming on board sooner?
All those should be in a few months be able to give us some solar power. Okay. Yeah, sure. So those are some of the solutions. But of course, we also, as you know, ZESCO is a member of the Southern African Power Pool, which is SAP. So being in that pool means that you are able to get some help and support when you are in need from the other countries that are in the pool. And you know, Southern Africa has got all these countries. We have helped before. As you know, once Zambia is generating at full capacity, we have lots of excess that we export. But we are now the one that is looking up to them and say, look, I know everybody has been hit, but Zambia has been one of the worst hit. So one of the interventions, obviously, is to strengthen our cooperation with our neighbors, and we've increased some exports of power, mainly from Namibia and Mozambique. So all these are interventions. But of course, Jason will tell you that there are a lot of other sources of energy that you can tap in. There's wind and all that. Yeah.
Okay. Before we wind up, I think it's important that as we are back on net metering, we reflect on safety issues. How does ZESCO ensure safety and reliability of these home solar systems that are being installed by different people?
Yeah, a very important question, Victor. We take safety matters, we take them quite seriously. So when customers are applying to become net metering customers, at the time of application, the customer will need to indicate the person who installed or who's going to install their system, their solar home solution. So this person must be accredited by the Engineering Institution of Zambia. They must be a member of the EIZ. We vet that as well. And once that is done, we don't just end there. We've taken a step further. We have published technical requirements for customers to be able to view what they can install at their premises. So we have technical requirements that have been published on our website, which is www.netmetering.zesco.co.zm. Our customers will be able to view that. And additionally, what we do when we are coming to carry out an inspection before we connect you, we will carry out an inspection of your installation. And at the time of installing, we'll carry out some tests just to make sure that your equipment conforms to our ZESCO standards. When we carry out those tests and everything is fine, everything seems okay, then we'll go ahead and we'll connect you. We'll be comfortable enough to connect you, giving you assurance that indeed your installation is safe.
We ran out of time, but
I just want to add that this is a very important point, safety, because just as we speak, I just read from one of the groups I belong to that 2 houses caught fire somewhere in Lusaka as a result of poor, wiring. I think it's very important for everybody, especially those that are building houses, that you have a top-notch electrician, a top-notch installer and electrician, because we do not want people to have accidents that are preventable. ZESCO is there, like Jason said. Go to www.zesco.co.zm/net metering. I think that's the one, /net metering. And you will find all this information and procedures. It's important because we do not want people to come and say, since this solar, net metering came, this house has got fire, this house has gotten burnt. No, it shouldn't be like that. Net metering should be a very safe undertaking as long as you follow the instructions and you use engineers or electricians that are qualified and are accredited to engineering institution of Zambia. It's extremely important.
Jason, as we are closing, your final remarks.
So please, we're encouraging all customers to participate in this. If you can manage to install a solar home solution, we're encouraging customers to do so. You'll be contributing towards the energy mix as a customer. You'll be participating in the energy mix. And it's pretty simple to become a net metering customer. You can visit our website, which is www.netmetering.zesco.co.zm. Apply today. We're receiving applications, and you'll be one of the very first few net metering customers.
Great. Caristo, what would be your last words?
Yeah, it's to ask you, when are you putting up yours?
Very soon.
We should lead by example. No, just to thank you, really, Zanis, for what you're doing, tremendous, and for inviting us for this work, for this interview, and also to congratulate you in advance for setting up a TV channel. This is a milestone. Congratulations. But I do know we'll be there on the official launch because we do know you've invited us. Congratulations once again, and thanks for having us.
Thank you so much, Caristo. We know that's your passion. We appreciate your commitment to us and all that you've done in as far as mentoring the team here at Zanis. We really appreciate that. Well, viewers, that's all we had for you. As we have learned today, net metering is not just a technical concept. It's an opportunity for households and businesses to become part of the solution, feeding energy back into the grid and creating a more sustainable future for all of us. As Zambians, it's important for us to adapt to the changes in the energy landscape and explore ways we can be proactive, whether through solar energy, efficient energy use, or supporting ZESCO's initiatives. Thank you for watching Power Talk. Stay informed, stay empowered, and let's work together towards a more energy-secure Zambia. From me, Victor Mwila, and the entire team here at Zanis TV, it's bye for now. God bless.